We're stuck.
Hi, I'm Jen.
And I'm Elliot.
And in September of 2019, we left our home in Atlanta and decided to travel the world full-time.
We wanted to go around the world in a year, but now we are stuck in India.
On March 5th, 2020, we arrived into Delhi, India.
You might be thinking March 5th, the coronavirus was already everywhere at that point, and it was in India then, but only in a few small cases. It wasn't throughout the country. And back then, we were still unsure of the global impact that coronavirus would have. And we thought, you know, we probably won't be locked down anywhere. And if so, it'd only be for a couple weeks, you know, because that's the quarantine period.
When we departed the plane on March 5th, we were given a COVID declaration where we stated that we had no symptoms and that we felt fine. We had a temperature check to our heads and we were allowed into the country. So we proceeded into our India travel adventure.
We didn't really know what we were doing in India at that point, but a couple days in, Jen ended up planning like the first 2 months of our journey, and it was going to be really fun. We were going to go all around the coast of India, but that didn't happen. We really didn't hear much about coronavirus after we arrived until about a week later when we were in Agra.
There, the hostel owner mentioned to us that he didn't expect to see tourists until the end of the year because of the coronavirus. Little did we know that that same day, March 12th, was the day that India suspended all new and incoming visas into the country. We just made it in.
Once we got to Jaipur, I felt really ill. We don't think it was the coronavirus, it was more of a stomach type of bug, but we'll spare you the details. And it wasn't until the 17th that we got out moving again.
That day we went on a walking tour where we learned about the forts and water conservation. When we were talking with our tour guide, he mentioned that we were really lucky because the Taj Mahal was closed. And we were in shock because we thought, wait, what? We just saw the Taj.
And it was the first thing that they closed.
Yeah.
Like they started with the big dogs.
So then, later that day, we found out that the other forts and smaller monuments were also closing all around India. We were in complete shock.
After our tour around the fort, we decided to go into the fort and explore. But as we were going into the fort, we met a European couple. And we haven't met that many foreigners on this trip, so meeting them out in the wild, I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? And like the first thing they said to us was, what's your guys' plan? And Jen and I were thinking, well, we're going to Jodhpur next in a couple days, and then we're gonna go Jaisalmer, whatever, our India plan. And they're like, no, your coronavirus plan. Like, are you staying or leaving? And like, while coronavirus was in the back of our minds, and we had just found out that the Taj had closed and that visa was terminated, coronavirus wasn't really at the forefront. And we ended up talking about the coronavirus for 3 hours with them. After that discussion, Jen and I really started talking about what's gonna happen. What are we gonna get locked down here?
Basically, what's our plan?
What's the plan, Phil?
What's the plan, Phil? The following day, on March 18th, we went into the pink city of Jaipur and explored. But we came to the realization that we couldn't really explore because everything was closed.
It's closed? Oh no. Coronavirus, oh no. Well, looks like we're not doing that. So now, not just the Taj, but also smaller monuments were shut down. And at that point, they were only shut down for 2 weeks or till the end of the month, the end of March. And they're still not open.
At this point, we were watching things close, but we still had a few days planned. So we decided to continue with our plans, and so the following day, on March 19th, we took our train from Jaipur to Jodhpur. The Blue City.
The Blue City, the Sun City. The train ride went smoothly, no cancellations there, but we did see a lot of the government precautionary measures. So they removed the blankets from the beds because of the coronavirus. You keep things, you know, a little bit more cleanly. The train ride went smoothly, our tuk-tuk to our hotel went smoothly, but once we got to our hotel, nobody was here. Or it looked like nobody was here. And we went up to the rooftop, and that's where I found the hotel owner. and he was like, "Can I help you?" And he said, "I messaged you." And I was like, "We don't have really good cell service in India, so I got access to the Wi-Fi, I checked it," and he said, like, we needed to get verified as corona-free before we checked in. But obviously we didn't get that memo because we were there at that time.
Right. So he did us a massive favor and had doctors come to the hotel and test us, do the necessary testing that was required from him by the Rajasthani government. They took our heart rate and they also took our temperature. And outside of that, they said that our heart rate was good, our temperature was good, and so we were allowed into the hotel.
And there was like a whole side story playing during this whole thing, if you remember. Like, I had my stomach illness in Jaipur, like a week before this. But the stomach illness like transitioned to a cough, and it was like a cough, like it's like one of those coughs that just keep coming, and there's not much you can do about it. So we got to the hotel, we were so worried that we'd be like left on the street that I was just like trying to hold in my cough. And I was wearing a mask at the time as we were traveling, but I was so sure like that it wasn't coronavirus, so I wasn't worried about that. But like I was worried that people would think it's a coronavirus. Like you can't go around coughing nowadays because everybody's just like, corona. Anyways, there was a whole side story playing where I was just like kept going downstairs to get more water and not seem like I'm coughing. Yeah, so we're lucky that we didn't have to go to a quarantine facility.
That night, Prime Minister Modi gave a nationwide address about the coronavirus. He said that there would be a Janta curfew, which means people's curfew, on Sunday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., which required for people to stay in their homes all day. He confirmed a 7-day travel ban for international flights that would begin on Sunday.
So we talked about coronavirus for the rest of the evening, but when we woke up, that's when we found out that the United States had increased their travel advisory to level 4 everywhere in the world and prepare to remain there indefinitely if you choose to stay. So basically, when we woke up Friday morning, we had an ultimatum: leave India by Sunday, so that gives you Friday and Saturday to do it, and cut our year-long trip short.
Or plan to stay in India indefinitely.
We quickly looked for flights, but all the flights were skyrocketing. I saw flights from like $7,000 one way per person up to $10,000 one way per person. That wasn't gonna happen.
When I woke up that morning, I was so scared because I woke up to the sound of a newscaster's voice saying that all the countries had a travel advisory raised to a level 4.
Breaking news, the State Department in the U.S. now telling Americans not to travel abroad because of the threat of coronavirus. Just moments ago, the State Department raised the travel advisory to the highest level. It's a level 4.
While we couldn't book a flight for the next couple days, we did decide to hedge our bets in a way. And so we booked a flight for the Monday after the week-long travel ban. So assuming the travel ban would end, or would end for a few days, we would have a flight that we could leave on if we wanted to. And it was a cancelable flight, so we weren't committing to leaving, but it was a good thing to have just in case.
We weren't sure if the cases in India would skyrocket, in which case we would want to leave, or if the cases would go down in this next week, in which case we would cancel the flight.
Turns out we didn't have to worry about that because the flight was canceled by the airlines.
Yeah. On Sunday, March 22nd, the Janta curfew began with the city almost silent. It was kind of weird because we were so used to horns and people yelling and cows. Yeah.
The mayhem that India is.
30 in the morning, it's pretty early. It's still normally you hear bustling and nobody is moving. I haven't even seen a single person out on a balcony. It's crazy. It's just like the whole country is silent.
And it was so quiet. Later that evening at 5 p.m., it culminated in all of the locals on their rooftops banging pots and pans in celebration for all of the healthcare workers that had been working so diligently in the past several weeks before the coronavirus, and it was really inspiring.
It was. That also marked the first day that we didn't leave our hotel until now. Monday, PM Modi had another nationwide address, and Tuesday, lockdown 1.0 officially started.
To put it in perspective, India started closing or imposing coronavirus restrictions on the 17th, and we went into our start of lockdown on the 20th. That's 3 days.
So that concludes the story of how we got locked down in India. I hope you enjoyed our story. If you have any questions on what lockdown is like or how we made some of the decisions to stay, please let us know in the comments below. Definitely stay tuned. We're gonna have a day in the life video coming up where we explain more so about some of the things that's happened in lockdown. And thanks for watching.
We're actually incredibly lucky in this entire situation. We are in a safe environment. We are at a hotel where the owner has been incredibly kind, generous, and thoughtful when helping us navigate all of these challenges in a very quickly moving situation. We're also incredibly grateful for our health, to be with each other during this time. So although our travel plans have been altered, we have no real complaints because there have been billions of people who have been negatively affected by the coronavirus throughout the world. Our hearts break whenever we think about the people who have lost a loved one due to the coronavirus.
We send everybody warm wishes in this time of global need.
I think that's great.
What is that? I'm supposed to be the goofy one.
I
not
know.
you.
Why am I doing that? Because you did that to me 5 times and we were starting the last time doing this. So I just thought I'd give you some paper.
And I'm serious today. You also put the camera on my computer.
First time. On March 5th, we flew from Australia to India. Arriving in India went extremely smooth. We filled out a COVID declaration, had our temperature checked, and entered India. You clapped over here and I went over there.
You dodge me every time. Figure out if you're good or not.
This is when things, I can't.
Just do it.
This is when things ramped up quickly and we weren't ready. Done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun dun dun.
Some color in your cheeks.
Dash, bob your head.
Abkesyo.
Abkasio.
Acha.
Acha.
Okay.
Hangama.
Hangama. 6.
This guy.
Really?
I don't know.
Let the record show that Jennifer is putting this face on our camera. They probably think we're so weird, talking to the camera.
Yeah.
There's a window right behind us, and there's a bunch of kids out there, and they just they're staring
waving.
and waving, and it's very nice actually. Huh. Hi.
By the way, there's construction noise going on in the background, so sorry about that.
It's India. It's noisy all the time. If you haven't already gotten that from our vlogs.
Hi!
Hi.
Namaste!
Namaste. Good job.
So, I got my best friend